everybody. We need something to help us make our players feel like they have some kind of, some kind of punishment for not playing well. I mean, right? Like that's what we've been needing, and we're going to start heading down that road as we learn a little bit about interfaces. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some stuff that could, maybe hurt us. All right. So, with that in mind, let's go into our content browser right here. We're going to right click in here. We're going to go to a blueprint class. We're going to make an actor. And this actor is going to be called, let's call this thing, let's see. I need to call it something other than new blueprint. Let's get that up here. We're going to go back into our content browser. And let's call this thing fire. Okay. Fire bad, like everybody's, the fire can hurt you and everything, so I think that will work out pretty well. We need a particle system for this. We happen to have in our starter content some fire. All right, so we go over here to our particles over here on the right side under details. We hit the drop down. We can look for a lot of different stuff here. We're just going to say fire. There's the fire particle system, and bam, there it is. Just blows up everywhere. I want it to be a pretty good size, so I'm going to set this to 666 because, it's evil fire. And let's see, we also need a little bit of a collision here. I'm going to use the sphere collision so that we can see everything here. Now this doesn't need to move or anything, so we can just have this showing up right there. Now it's kind of small. We're gonna obviously make that bigger. So here we go. Whoa. There we go. It's a good bit larger and seems to cover about the area where the particle system is. All right. Let's go ahead and compile that. And for right now, we're done. Okay. So let's go ahead and the next piece we're going to need, this is our introduction into interfaces. So an interface is something kind of like a cast, kind of like if you're reading something along a trace, it's going to be able to have some communication between blueprints. So the way that works and way that can kind of help you out is if you try and cast to multiple things at once, oftentimes you can run into a problem. Whereas if the first thing gets cast, it may not hit the second thing, or it may not hit the something else that's in the line there. So what we're going to do is use an interface, and that allows anything in the area to implement this interface, and it's able to use whatever functionality is associated with that interface. So this will allow us to have multiple things that we can look at and talk to and get some information from. So I want to say BPI. Let's see, take damage. Let's call it that. Okay. So actually, I did that wrong. Give me a second. Let me just delete that. Because we need to actually get a particular blueprint, okay, not just like a regular old blueprint class. Right here underneath, you'll see that we have blueprints, okay, and I need to get a blueprint interface. There we go. Now that's better. BPI, blueprint interface, that's what that stands for. And take damage. There we go. All right, that's what we should get whenever you implement that interface. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into this now. It's really simple. It's really just a communication device. It's not really, there's not going to usually be a lot of stuff in here. Our first function, this one's just going to be called killed. Okay, so what killed is going to do is it's going to send some information over that's it's kind of like a cast. It's like, hey, we did this thing, and just since we're able to do this thing, then implement the fall damage or something along those lines. But in this case, we're just going to have the level start over. Okay, so that'll give you the impression that, well, you screwed up and you are going to have to start this whole level over. All right, so we got this compiled, saved. That's pretty much it as far as making the interface. Later on, we'll get into a lot more complex interfaces, but for right now, this is it. That's all we need. Don't need an input or output or anything like that currently, but later on, as I said, we'll go ahead and use that. All right, now we need for our player to use this interface. So what we're going to do is we need the interface to be on the objects that it's touching, and we need to go ahead and drag that fire in. Let me grab that. We'll bring our fire in. Where did our fire go? There's fire. Okay. Since it's a particle system, you won't really see anything with it. Let's see. Let's zoom out here. Got a pretty good sized fire there, which is kind of nice. Let's see. I'm going to pull it back over here so that whenever you start again, we're going to start this level again. You are obviously in a different space. Okay. So for our fire, we need that to have the interface implemented. So I'm going to go in here, and where you add interfaces is going to be at the top. You go up here to class settings, and on the right side under details you'll see interfaces right here, and we don't have one right now. We've made one. We can implement that one. We're going to go in BPI take damage. That's our interface that we're using, and as soon as it's added in, we're in good shape there. And we just need to make sure that this thing actually uses that interface. So we're going to go into our first person character now. We have that attached. We just need to make sure that interface is on there. And let's see, we're going to go to our character. There it is, BP my character. Okay, here's all my code. And what we want to do now is, if we have something that we're interacting with, then we want to check and see if it's using the interface, and if it is, then we're going to restart our level. Okay, so what we're going to do is up here we need to get our capsule component, click on that first, and then we're going to do begin overlap. So we're still using that. We're still using our begin overlap. Okay, and then we're going to check and see, does the thing use the interface, and if it does, then we're going to have it restart the level. Okay, so we're going to drag off of this, and we're going to see, let's see, implement interface, and we might have to turn this off. Whoop, there we go. Does implement interface. Okay, and we're just checking the other thing, the other actor, to see if it does. And the interface we're looking for is our BPI interface, take damage. Okay, and if that's true, then we're going to branch off of this. If that is true, that it does implement the BPI interface, then we're going to have it open level by name. Okay, now this is a part where you actually are going to have to type and make sure you do it right and everything. Right in here, the level we want it to load is going to be first person example map. Now if you change your name, just make sure that you add in the exact name right here, or otherwise it's not really going to work. Okay, so as long as we're overlapping this thing and we have the interface on that thing, then we're going to change the level. Okay, we're going to change it back to where it was. Let's see if it works. All right, going to go ahead and hit play. All right, there's our fire. I'm scared of the fire. I run away from the fire. All right, and we hit it. Oh, and we go right back to where we were. Now, the cool thing about this is I can set up anything here to do that. I can even make a door do that. Like I could have a poison door kind of thing. In this case, I'm going to make a copy of my fire. I'm going to duplicate that real quick because it's already got, should already have the thing on it. I'm going to call this one Blue Death. All right, because all these things kill our player, essentially. You know, that's kind of what we're going for. We have fire. I'm going to change it from fire to sparks. Oops, not sparkles. Sparks. There we go. All right, so we got some sparks. Let's see what those look like. That's what that looks like. And we need to make sure it has the interface. It does, has the interface, so we're in good shape. I'm going to go ahead and drag Blue Death out over here. Let's see, I have to work for it a little bit. Let's see. Did it end up getting dropped? No. Okay, that's fine. There we are. So now when we get in here, I can either go to the fire or I can end up going into the sparks, like right here, and I start over. Okay, so check out your assignment. We're going to be using this in our new maze and all the puzzle pieces that you have. So now we can start making your rage quit game, which everybody is looking forward to, I'm sure. And if they get hurt or they fall or anything like that, now they're going to have to start over the level. All right, let's see what you guys make.